Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be here in Nashville with the newly expanded 3D Experience World.
Over the next few days, we will learn what being part of the world's community really means.
The 3D Experience platform is about that, the power of communities coming together, revealing imagination, and translating imagination to reality.
So this is a story about empowerment, it's a story about future for creatives, and ultimately about community.
To be human is to work very hard to make dreams come true. This is what we do.
The Magic Wheelchair is a non-profit organization when we build epic costumes for kids in wheelchairs at no cost to families.
This is a completely Solidworks designed product. I wouldn't even call it a wheelchair. It's a recreational outdoor adventure machine.
When the doctor told me that we were going to have to amputate my leg, I went to work and I started designing myself a better leg. And 4 months after the injury happened, I had my first photo knee.
You have moved from flat drawings to 3D. We want to give you the possibilities to move from 3D to life experiences, to virtual twin experiences, to really transform the way you do your business.
Be inspired to make your dreams come true and go build a better world for all of us. Hello everyone. 3D Experience World 2021 is happening next week and I am so excited to see you all there. This year it will be a unique all-digital experience, which means you can attend from anywhere. We have a jam-packed agenda designed for you. Amazing lineup of speakers from expert designers and engineers like Jason Pohl to shop floor experts like Titan Gilroy, and industry luminaries like infamous designer Frank Stevenson and Duncan Wardle, former head of innovation and creativity at Disney. More than 130 technical breakout sessions to brush up on your SolidWorks skills. Here you will find these super helpful SolidWorks sessions with plenty of tips from seasoned users and SolidWorks technical experts, as well as how-tos on all the products in the 3D Experience World portfolio. We have also added an executive track geared specifically towards the C-level attendees. For you CAD managers, we have a track with need-to-know information to help keep your departments running smoothly. And for our Delmi Awards customers, we have plenty of sessions to ensure you are getting the most out of your software. Virtual networking? Yes. Meet your peers who work in the same field. Meet new people, designers, engineers, makers, entrepreneurs, executives, and chat live with them at more than 35 meetup sessions, and so much more. Join the Global SolidWorks community on February 8th to 11th for this amazing virtual experience. See you there.
Thank you, Gian Paolo, and welcome everybody to a very special Solidworks Live. We're really glad to have you here today. Last year about this time, we decided to broadcast every day from 3D Experience World. This year, things are obviously a little bit different. So we wanted to give you a little bit of a sneak peek of what you can come to expect from 3D Experience World virtually next week. We have a lot of great guests live here with us, joining us today, as well as several interviews I had the opportunity to do over the last week. I'm your host, Jeremy Rigneris, and again, we're really glad to have you here today. So if you've never attended a 3D Experience World before, it's the world's largest engineering conference. Typically in the past, it's an in-person event with over 5,000 engineers from all around the world. This year, we're excited to announce, as of yesterday morning, we're already over 26,000 people in attendance from around the world. If you haven't registered yet, I encourage you to go to 3dexperienceworld.com today and register. In fact, if you register by tomorrow night, you'll automatically gain access to a VIP registration just for signing up early. This event's going to be taking place virtually yet live next week, February 8th through the 11th, and there's going to be a ton of content for you to participate in. We have a jam-packed schedule, just like we would in an in-person event. Starting right away on Monday, we have a full certification day. Then the next 3 days are filled with content from general sessions in the morning where you can learn about all of the new innovation and technology coming from Dassault Systems and Solidworks. Those will be followed by the traditional technical deep dive breakout sessions where you can learn how to hone your skills as a SolidWorks user and all the other technology that's available to you. There's also going to be a live virtual playground where you can go learn about a lot of other cool ancillary technology and learn about the next generation manufacturing capabilities. And finally, we're going to have virtual meetups so you can still meet with the people that you're used to meeting year in and year out. So a ton of great content, and we're hoping to give you a good look at some of the stuff you can expect to see next week. Now, I had just mentioned the virtual playground and next generation of manufacturing. I actually had a really cool opportunity to meet with founder and CEO of Titans of CNC earlier this week, Titan Gilroy. Let's take a look at what he had to say. Next, I'd like to welcome to the show CEO of Titans of CNC, Titan Gilroy. Titan, welcome to SolidWorks Live. It's great to have you here.
Absolutely, Jeremy. Thank you so much for having me.
So, Titan, we have an audience and viewers at home that are really energetic to know all sorts of things about engineering and manufacturing. Why don't you tell them a little bit about what Titans of CNC is?
Absolutely. It's a little difficult, though. We are a manufacturing facility, not just a manufacturing facility, but for the last few decades, we've made some of the craziest aerospace parts for private industry that the world's ever seen. Parts out of Inconel and titanium and Monel, 5-axis pieces, mill turn, all of it. And being on that level, I myself and my team, we just got sick of actually seeing that young people weren't getting excited about the trades, that people were talking about the skills gap and not solving that problem. And everybody's closing their doors so people can actually see inside industry. And, I think we're all excited that we're not that oily, dirty, grimy place anymore. We have high tech behind us, and we got to get our kids excited about it. So my team and I developed a curriculum, and we actually give it out to everyone for free. Currently, we're in 170 countries. We have 100,000 students online, and we have 2,700 schools that are registered.
That is incredible. I hope everybody watching right now just caught that. Their whole curriculum, it's available to you for free. Titan, where can people go and learn more about Titans of CNC?
Absolutely. You can actually go to titansofcnc.com. When you get there, you'll see 2 academies. So the first one is our regular academy, and that teaches fundamentals. You can learn SolidWorks, CAM and CNC through 5-axis and all of it. The second academy is Aerospace Academy, and no matter if you're in automotive, if you're a student and you're in medical or aerospace, you can learn high level machining on that platform right there. And again, it is all for free.
Wow. So if I come here, do I have to have any previous knowledge, or say I already have some existing knowledge? Do you have a curriculum made for the different levels of users that are going to come to Titans of CNC?
Yeah, actually, it's all of the above. We're proud that over 50% of our students are actually in the workforce. These are people that are in shops just like mine, and they might not be learning the latest technology or have the opportunity. So we say, hey, no excuses. You can go on the academy, you can learn how to program robots, you can learn how to program CNC machines and design in 3D. We even have crazy partnerships with companies like Solidworks and 3DEXPERIENCE, where we're giving out the curriculum, where we're giving out the software for $20. You can get that on our website. And we actually teach all the fundamentals. We even have a kids program. So we're teaching fundamentals to kids. We're teaching fundamentals to high school students and even retirees. And then we take you right through designing parts, programming parts, and running them on CNC machines. We teach you absolutely everything.
Well, there's a lot to digest there. So anybody viewing at home, if you want to learn more about Titans of CNC, I encourage you, go to titansofcnc.com. But Titan, the reason we actually have you here today is to talk about next week. You're going to be participating in 3D Experience World virtually. Where can our viewers, what are you going to be sharing with our viewers next week during the virtual event?
It's going to be absolutely amazing. So I got to work with Michael and Jordan. I was joking around Michael Jordan, and they had an amazing product, the shredder. And on that product, they took a part, the track arm, and they gave it to me because they weren't sure how to manufacture and what the best process would be to get that done. So in manufacturing, it's what you know, right? You can have a million machinists and they're all going to be different based on what they've experienced. So what I do is I actually walk you through the processes of 3-axis, 4-axis, 5-axis, and I actually show you the differences, and then I explain which machine is perfect for that part. And not only that, but we actually designed a crazy fixture to hold the part so you can actually machine it complete and not have to do additional operations. And that's a mind thing. That's the mind game that separates shops. That's intellectual property, and we gave that to you guys for free.
There you have it. If you want to see how they kind of walk through this whole decision-making process, I encourage you to tune in. Titan, when can people tune in to see you next week?
It's going to be on Wednesday, the 10th, from 11:45 to 12:30, and it is going to be amazing.
I can't wait to tune in, and I'm sure our viewers can't wait to tune in. Titan, I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come and visit us.
Absolutely, Jeremy. Thank you so much for having me.
I want to continue the conversation of the future of design and manufacturing domain session that's happening next week. And to have this conversation, I'd like to bring on Mike Buckley, 3D Experience Roles Manager for 3D Experience Works. Mike, welcome to SolidWorks Live. It's great to have you here.
Hey, Jeremy. Thanks for having me on.
So, Mike, you had the chance to work with Titan Gilroy getting ready for 3D Experience World. Can you give us a little insight as to kind of what folks can tune in and anticipate seeing? Because he's part of kind of a smaller part of a bigger topic.
Yeah. So as you know, companies work, right? There's the design portion, there's the manufacturing portion, as Titan alluded to. There's lots of people that design parts, but they don't necessarily know how to make them, right? So we often get caught in this, send me an email, send me this. I work with this guy that I worked with for 20 years. And throughout that process, especially when everybody works from home these days, there's better ways to collaborate and communicate and be efficient and work through those things. So as Titan mentioned, you know, he goes over how you would manufacture those parts, but through the design and manufacturing process, we take a look at how some of the new technology and some of the things that we use in the 3D Experience platform allow companies to communicate and collaborate more effectively.
Okay, so that's one area where you're kind of involved in manufacturing at 3D Experience World. But there's also something else that's happening. In years past, we would tour your shop floor in the playground area at 3D Experience World, and it was a huge favorite of our fans on SolidWorks Live and many people at the event. What's going to happen with this being a virtual event? Are we going to have a shop floor this year?
So we are going to have a shop floor. First off, I tried to get a whole bunch of machines shipped to my shop, and it sort of got tamped down a little bit. So we had to rethink how we're going to do this. But luckily, we have some very amazing customers, and they're pushing the envelope in all these different areas of manufacturing. So this year, what we did is we took the virtual approach of manufacturing, and we're actually showcasing a handful of our customers in the Midwest that are really doing things to close the skills gap, keep people employed, and then push the levels of automation. So the shop floor area allows us to look at those customers, see how they're doing things. Titan has a keynote in there. We also are looking at a high school that has completely transformed how they are handling, skills gap. And then we followed up with a live Q&A panel later on this week.
So Michael, people can kind of participate in this virtual playground. They can watch and consume all of this content, but you mentioned a live Q&A. When can people tune in to the live Q&A to ask any specific questions they have?
Sure. So the live Q&A will be next Wednesday at 12:30 Eastern time. Sorry, I'm in Mountain, so I got to calculate for Eastern time. So 12:30 Eastern time, people can log in and ask questions and get real feedback from the companies that are actually doing this in the real world today.
Okay. We've been kind of talking about the future of design and manufacturing in manufacturing automation. Now, are we just talking about SolidWorks CAM here, or are we looking at tools even beyond that?
So we're actually looking at tools beyond that. SolidWorks CAM is, a very successful tool. We have lots of companies using it, especially this year. People have adopted it, looked at it, adding more things. But what we found over the last several years with SolidWorks CAM is it does a very, very good job for the entry-level beginning manufacturing components. However, technology is becoming way more affordable. Robotics, now that we have to be social distanced, automation for kinematics, creating the virtual twin. And so based on those feedback, we're actually incorporating some of our Delmia machining rules to do things like robotics, automation, more advanced rules. So companies that want to go up beyond SolidWorks CAM can incorporate the exact same levels of automation they have today, but at a very higher scale. So we're really excited about our new Delmia rules, especially the shop floor programmer that we just released here recently. I've been running my shop. It's pretty amazing.
I've seen Shop Floor Programmer personally myself. I've had the opportunity to use it. Michael, I actually think in March, I think we've discussed maybe bringing you and John on and kind of talking about Shop Floor Programmer in a little bit more depth, actually. So I encourage people, though, to tune in next week at 3D Experience World. Let's not get ahead of ourselves for later, but tune in next week. Join the virtual playground, participate in the virtual shop floor, and make sure you tune in on Wednesday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern time for that live Q&A session. Mike, is there anything that I've missed here that you want to quick cover before we move on?
I would say if anybody wants to learn more about Delmia, we have some really amazing breakout sessions coming up this next week from resellers and some of our own internal people, people that have already put it through the paces. So if you're interested about learning more about Delmia and what our manufacturing solutions do, please go check those out in the agenda.
All right, Mike, great to have you here. Thanks for coming on today and letting people know a little bit more about what they can experience next week.
Sure, thank you.
So before I move on, I do want to mention, if you have any questions regarding 3D Experience World or maybe any of the particular sessions we're bringing up here, be sure to post those in the comments and questions section of whatever social media platform you're joining us on, whether that's YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. We'll have somebody kind of watching those questions, and we may bring some of our guests back at the end to cover those. Now, Michael is all about manufacturing. Somebody else who was a guest I got to interview earlier this week. You may know him from his 16 years of experience at Orange County Choppers, and that's Jason Pohl, the young man who you might have always seen doing a lot of the design work with SolidWorks there. Let's take a look at how Jason Pohl will be participating in 3D Experience World next week. Next guest I'd like to welcome to SolidWorks Live is Jason Pohl from Jason Pohl Designs and a brand ambassador to SolidWorks. But you may remember him from his last 16 years working at Orange County Choppers. Jason, welcome to SolidWorks Live. Awesome to have you here.
Oh, it's great to be here, Jeremy. I'm a super fan of SolidWorks, and I've seen all the work that you've done over the years, so mad respect to you. And yeah, it's great to be here and be working with SolidWorks, and got my own design business started, and things are really popping off. So couldn't be happier, you know?
Yeah, it sounds like you've got a lot of really exciting stuff happening. I want to let the viewers at home maybe know about some of the stuff you've done in the past. I briefly alluded to some time you spent at OCC. A lot of longtime SolidWorks users might actually remember we had a motorcycle that you were heavily involved in. Can you give us a quick rundown of like your experience with that? And that was a long time ago, and you've been with you were using SolidWorks way back then. Can you give us a little breakdown of what that was like?
Yeah, for sure I can, Jeremy. So that was a handful of years ago, and I was 21 years old, and it was probably like in the top 5 bikes at the time that I had designed. And I remember Jeff Ray came in with Chris Salmers, and they were like, "Hey, we got this software. It's called SolidWorks. It's gonna change the way you guys build bikes at OCC and how you design them." And I remember I kind of rolled my eyes like a typical 21-year-old Jason would do, and I gave it a shot, man. And I never looked back, man. It's been the engineering tool of my preference the last 16 years, almost 17 now. And like I said, I started my own business, and I'm using SolidWorks every day with that as well. And it's just super fun to be a brand ambassador and check out the software and see the platform develop and evolve. And, you know, like anything, when I first got on the platform, it was new, so I wasn't really comfortable with it. So I just kind of, you know, got into it. Now I've hit stride with it, and it is the tool for industrial designers to rock and roll with. You guys still got it, right? It's still laying around, right?
We do. It actually sits very prominently in our office in Waltham, Massachusetts. You can't miss it when you walk in the front door. It's always really cool when I go visit. I always see it there. So
we're going to get it redesigned with the 3D experience touches to it. Okay, that's one of my personal goals to see happen is give that guy a facelift big time. You know what I mean?
All right, that sounds exciting. I can't wait to see some of that stuff. I want to talk to you a little bit about, you know, you've kind of transitioned over the last 16 years. You're now out on your own. You're doing your own company, and you're a brand ambassador for SolidWorks. Tell me a little bit about some of the new exciting things you're doing and how being a brand ambassador might be playing a role in that. You told me off camera you've been really diving into a lot of these other tools. Can you give me some examples?
Yeah, for sure. But number one, it's like whenever I was traveling for work and I'd bounce into people, I'd see young engineers that were like, "Hey, man, I saw you rocking on that Wacom using SolidWorks, and, you know, now I'm an engineer," and it kind of got me in the right direction. So for me, it was always just like that was a byproduct of just being me and the fortunate, you know, area of being in 165 countries, you know, every Monday night, you know, people get to know you whether you want them to or not. But I could relate to engineers and I can relate to designers and the struggles that they go through day to day, you know, because that's what I'm doing every day. You know, I'm designing something new. And it's just such a perfect fit for me within SolidWorks to be able to see the new software and help put my touches to it. And like, hey, a designer like me is going to expect this or the command to do that. And what's cool about the platform is there's a lot of very talented people working on it right now, and it continues to get better. Every day it's updated and better. So to see that evolve the last handful of months has been amazing, you know? So it's just something cool to be part of. And I never thought it would be so cool to be in the software business. You know, I always just used it as a tool, which I still do, to get to the next project. But what an exciting time to see everything happening. And it's just amazing that it's internet based now. It's actually mind blowing. So hats off to all the talented people at Dassault Systems that are putting it together for guys like me to be able to use.
That sounds great. So next week, 3D Experience World. So you're going to go kind of to a new level here. You're going to be participating. Can you tell the folks watching at home what you're going to be covering, when and what you're going to be covering next week?
Yeah, I just got to figure it out yet. You know, I got plenty of time, right, Jeremy?
Sounds like a story I may have heard before.
No, I got some tricks up my sleeve. Basically, what I want to cover is my portfolio the last handful of years to kind of show off my work and expose the people who I am and what I'm all about. And also, I want to show my workflow, how I, you know, was so set on just using SolidWorks. But then I took a minute to take a time out and look at all the other tool set on the 3D Experience platform. And I found a few things that like I'm absolutely obsessed with. And the 3D Sculptor package for a guy like me that provides style to companies that need it. It's amazing, you know, the subdivisional surfaces that hold C2 continuity. And I can still, it's like I'm pushing clay around, man, like, you know, at insane speeds. And I just see edges and vertices and polygons and whatnot going every which way. And I'm just making really cool stuff. And I got a race car I want to show off that I'm super happy about, you know, and things like that. But I just want to show my workflow, you know, from X shape to X design to back out to SolidWorks, because, you know, I'm familiar with those tools. And then a new little tool I found that's just mind blowing, which is called Visualize. And I'm cranking out like these beautiful renders that I'm like fist pumping while it's rendering. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm like trying to show my kids, you know, I'm here at my home office. I'm like, look at that. And the reflections and the chrome and everything. So it's a lot, man. And it's like, it's just so cool, man. It's almost emotional for me as a designer to go from, you know, when my renderings, I used to trip them off and they take like 45 minutes for a single slide, to now we're talking like 30 seconds on this new box machine. And it's like, it's just stupid fast, man. Yeah. So I don't know, a lot of good stuff, all positive, Jeremy. You know, I'm excited for it. I'm not fearing it like a conference. Like I've been to 1,000 conferences where, hey, here's your bike, you know, but this one's different. Right. I feel like more invested. And every time I meet anyone that is an engineer or designer and they're using SolidWorks, I relate to them so much because we've been through the same war, so to speak, together, as far as like, you know, it can be a grind and, you know, just, you know, learning new things. And I just want to show people that, you know, when you adjust to something new and you're no longer uncomfortable, it's awesome. And for me, if I would have never touched 3D Sculptor package, I would have been the same designer I was 3 months ago. You know what I mean? So I'm that much better. And I just kind of want to share that message to everyone out there that I've been part of, you know, the last 16 years or so using SolidWorks. So I'm excited about it, man.
Cool. So I'm excited I want to see this myself. Do you know what the name of the session?
Yeah, it's going to be Wednesday, February 10th at 12:30. It's called Industrial Design and Workflow with Jason Pohl. But also, that's just one event. I'm going to be doing a whole bunch. I'm going to be bouncing around from one to the other. I know I got something planned with Suchit. Got something special planned for the user group meeting. So it's a whole week of nonstop fun.
That's awesome. You know, everybody's, you know, we're looking at this. This is a virtual event, but it's still action-packed and there's a ton of stuff to do. Jason, I want to thank you for joining me here today. I can't wait to see you next week.
Right on. See you next week, Jeremy.
What a great opportunity I had to speak with Jason about this virtual event. Now, it's a virtual event, but SolidWorks or 3D Experience World in the past has always had a lot of hands-on activities. One of these in the past has been an attendee favorite called Model Mania. And I'd like to bring Mark Schneider on to talk a little bit about what we're doing with Model Mania at 3D Experience World next week. Mark, welcome to SolidWorks Live.
Hey, Jeremy, how are you? Great to see you.
I'm doing very well. So, Mark, Model Mania, a lot of people go to SolidWorks World. They roll up their sleeves and they tackle, whatever crazy concoction you've worked up each year. But for the at home who may have never attended a 3D Experience World, can you let everybody kind of know what Model Mania is?
Yeah, so Model Mania is a modeling contest that we've had at SolidWorks World in the past, now 3D Experience World, for the last 21 years. So quite a long time. And what it is a modeling contest. What we do is at the live event, we'll sit you down in a booth with a computer and a seat of SolidWorks, and you will model a part. We'll give you a drawing, you model a part. Then when you're done modeling that part, we give you another drawing and ask you to make a change to that part and run a quick simulation. Whoever gets it done, we grade them then on accuracy and then on time. So accuracy first and then on time. So this contest, like I said, it's going on for quite a long time. Contestants come, they sit down, they get to compete against their peers. Resellers compete against each other. Our evaluated resellers compete against each other. And then our SolidWorks customers, our SolidWorks users compete against each other as well. So we kind of separate those two out. And then we give out some really cool prizes. This year we got gift cards, 500, 400, 300, first, second, and third for both of those reseller user categories. So it's been good. So this year we wanted to keep it going. This has been an event where you had to go in the playground, you sat down, it was a hands-on type of thing. How can we make that work this year? We wanted to make it virtual, so we've done that. It's going to be a little bit different. No doubt it's going to be a little bit different. We're going to hold the Model Mania contest on Tuesday, February 9th at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Everyone will see the drawing at the same time. And then everyone will run through the process of modeling the part and running a simulation and then submit their model. The timer starts as soon as the drawing is displayed. And when when you submit your model, the timer stops. So it's a little bit different. You're going to use your own seat of SolidWorks, your own computer. You'll have all the creature comforts of working from your own environment. So you need to have those things. You won't have to log into any special thing, but you're still going to be using your own seat of SolidWorks. Again, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday, February 9th. Make sure and actually, if you can, I'll help you understand how to navigate to that. So if you can bring up that slide there, Jeremy, would be great. Yeah, so on the 3D Experience World platform, or the 3D Experience World website, go there. Go to the playground. There's navigation at the top. It says playground. Drop that down. Choose Model Mania. We have 3 Model Mania challenges this year. The traditional SolidWorks challenge, Model Mania SolidWorks challenge, where you model a part in SolidWorks. We have another one that's a 3D Experience challenge that Michael will talk about shortly. And then we had a student challenge this year that Charles ran, and we've already completed that one. That one ran in January, so that one's already done. But it was a really good way for the students to compete as well. But if you come to this page here, all kinds of information you have about that. This is where you want to come on Tuesday, February 9th at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Make sure you come here. You'll hit that blue button there that says Enter the Virtual Tester. Once you enter the virtual tester, we will ask you for some information about yourself and so on. There's some video instructions. So these video instructions will be that blue button, and these video instructions will be available tomorrow. So if you want to start poking around inside here, understand how the virtual tester is going to work, there's a whole set of instructions there. That next slide there, Jeremy, if you can click that, shows you what it looks like inside of the virtual tester. So I mentioned 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. That's when the drawing gets displayed, or that's when you're allowed to enter the virtual tester. At 2:40 is when the drawing is displayed. So we give you that 10 minutes, type in your information, get yourself settled, start SolidWorks, make sure your simulation is added in, make sure your Simulation Express is activated, make sure you started drawing. All that information's in the video, but that's what the virtual tester is going to look like. You can put them on side by side like I've done here, or you can put it onto a different monitor. If you put the web page onto a different monitor, however you want to, whatever ways you work. There's a button at the bottom lets you print it or open it in a new tab. We're trying to make this easy, trying to make this this really comfortable for everyone.
So, Mark, in the past, this is something where users would come to the event and they could show up at any time. One of the things that's really different, you have to be logged in and you have to go to that area in the playground at that specific time. So one of the questions we received from our audience was, how do I sign up for Model Mania? Basically, anybody can go to the playground and sign up, right, Mark?
That's all. Well, you don't even need to sign up. Just go there at 2:30. Click that blue button that says Enter Virtual Tester. Once you go in there, there's a video in there. I'll tell you what to do, but it'll ask you, are you a reseller? Are you a user? What's your name? Phone number. We ask for some basic information, and then you're into the waiting room. So 2:30 is when you want to go sign up. It might be there a little bit before 2:30, but for the most part, that's when you're going to want to go. And at 2:40 is when the drawing starts. The drawing gets displayed. So make sure that you're there at least 2:30. You'll fill in basic information, get yourself set, get SolidWorks up and running, start a part, name it as we describe in the video. And again, that video and that you'll be able to enter that virtual tester, I think, starting tomorrow. And the only thing that you'll have access to starting until 2:30 on Tuesday is just to watch the video. That video is there for you to familiarize yourself with the contest and with the virtual tester. We want everybody to be comfortable so that all you're doing is concentrating on modeling the part. And one thing that's different, Jeremy, this year that we've done in the past. So if you've seen the Model Manias in the past, and you can get that information from the Playground Model Mania page. You go to My SolidWorks, and you can see some of the past drawings that were done. You can see some of the past videos that were done, which you are very familiar with, since you created a lot of that video content. But one of the things you'll notice in the past is what you did is you created a part, and then we gave you some changes to make to the part and run a simulation. There'll be no changes this year. There's only one phase. There's no phase 2, no changes. We're going to ask you to model the part, and we're going to ask you to run a simulation on the part and enter that information, submit your model. That's it. We're trying to keep this simple. We're trying to keep Model Mania going. That's the way we're doing it. And you have 30 minutes to complete it. So usually it's been 20 minutes when we're doing this virtually. Let's make it 30 minutes and let's kind of open things up. Let everybody compete. Let everybody, toss submit their model. So another change that's different than in the past is when that drawing shows up, when that drawing flashes on the screen at 2:40 p.m. Eastern time, that's when the timer starts. Timer starts as soon as the drawing is up. So if you want to print it out, you can print it out. You want to detach it and put it onto another monitor, all those things, but be aware the timer is running as soon as the drawing appears. So we're just trying to make it really fair for everyone, equal and fair for everyone.
So, Mark, got a couple questions coming in regarding this. First, I'll ask you both of them really quick because I think you're going to answer them both together. What SolidWorks do they have to use? Is it going to be like a virtual SolidWorks desktop software? Do they have to have their own? Does it need to be a specific version? And then SolidWorks simulation. Do they have to have SolidWorks simulation, or can they just use Simulation Express, which comes with SolidWorks?
Great question. The answer is you have to have your own seat of SolidWorks. There's no access to virtual or online software. So you have to have your own seat of SolidWorks running on your own computer. You're going to be using whatever you're working with there. What version of SolidWorks, it doesn't matter. We have the latest versions. We'll be able to open up old files. So as long as you're comfortable with whatever version you have, you're fine. Simulation, no, you do not need to have simulation. All we ask for, and if you watch some of the previous Model Manias that we've done in the past, you'll see all we're asking for is a simple simulation. We're asking for the factor of safety. So you can use SolidWorks simulation or Simulation Express. If you're going to use Simulation Express or SolidWorks simulation, make sure your simulation is added into SolidWorks If you're using Simulation Express, make sure you practice. Go through that tomorrow, this afternoon, and get through that to make sure that Simulation Express is activated. If you've never used it on the version that you're using, it'll ask you to activate it, and you'll need to be on subscription to activate that's Simulation Express. Actually, I don't even know if you need to be on subscription for that. I'm not 100% sure. But just go through the activation process for Simulation Express so that you're not doing it in the middle of the contest.
All right, Mark. Well, I want to thank you for making Model Mania happen at a virtual 3D experience this world. It's been awesome having you here. Thanks for coming today.
Thanks, Jeremy.
So like Mark had a pivot to make Model Mania happen at 3D Experience World this year in a virtual environment, I had a chance to talk with Matt Carney, founder of OSR masks this past year. He was at 3D Experience World last year where he was talking about a bionic leg that he was working on. The pandemic hit. He quickly changed his entire business. Let's take a look at what Matt did and what he'll be doing at 3D Experience World this year. Next, I'd like to welcome Matt Carney, co-founder and CEO of Open Standard Respirator, to Solidworks Live. Matt, welcome.
Hi, thank you. Nice to see you, Jeremy.
Well, it's good to see you again. Last year about this time, you know, I got the chance to meet you at 3D Experience World in Nashville, Tennessee, at a live event in front of thousands of engineers. This year has definitely changed the way we're doing things. Tell me a little bit about, you know, you coming into 3D Experience World maybe this year versus last year.
Yeah, well, in some ways I'm happy I'm not standing in front of 5,000 people because it's pretty scary, actually. But I'm also honored that I was able to join you all last year to talk about the bionic legs that I was working on. And it's crazy how much has changed because I walked off that stage thinking that I was going to be building bionic legs for people. And then all of a sudden a pandemic hit. And here we are sitting behind screens.
Yeah, I mean, Matt, you said it was pretty scary in front of that large audience of 5,000-ish engineers. I hate to break the news to you, but because this is a virtual event this year, our audience, it's much bigger than it's ever been. People are tuning in from all around the world to hear what you have to say. I mean, does that make it less scary or more scary for you?
I don't know that I'm comfortable with that, actually. That sounds scary. But luckily I don't see them all right now, so we're good.
There you go. So let's talk a little bit about what the viewers at home can tune into next Thursday that you're going to be discussing during the Power of Community event. It has a lot to do with how the events of this year unfolded. Can you give us some details?
Yeah, from what I talked about last year, like I'm really motivated to build things that improve people's lives. And I think a lot of engineers out there are. In fact, I know that because just after SolidWorks World last year, the pandemic hit and everything went into lockdown. And I was sitting at home, just like many other folks out there. And I was trying to figure out how I could apply my skills for good. And I fell into this giant global hackathon on this huge Slack channel called Helpful Engineering with something like 13,000 people actively trying to figure out how they could help with the pandemic. And, I was trying to figure it out. I heard that ventilators were in short supply. So I started looking into this design specs for ventilators. That looked really hard and dangerous. I looked at face shields. It looked like people had that under control, somewhat straightforward. And so I started looking at face masks and I was hearing calls for 3D printed masks. And my gut reaction to that was, I'm not sure that that is scalable, nor is it potentially safe. My guess is it's probably going to be a lot harder than we think. And so I jumped into a team with a number of other folks that shared that idea that we should try to make an elastomeric respirator with injection molded components. And as it turns out, I ended up kind of taking a lead of that project, had some co-leads come on board with me and help drive it forward. And it turns out it's a lot harder than we thought. But here we are nearly a year later, and we actually have a face mask. We call this the OSR mask, the OSR Model 1, and it hits all the specs. We're passing all the mechanical tests, and we're actually just at the end of December started making them available to the public.
Well, that's really exciting. You had mentioned, it was a lot harder than what you initially thought it would be. to create a face mask and respirator. Can you give us a little insight? Like, what were some of the really big challenges that you had to overcome with the OSR?
Oh yeah, I mean, it turns out there's a lot of conflicting requirements when you're building a mask. One, getting a seal on your face is really hard and really difficult. You want to not use a lot of material because there's a global shortage of material. So how do you use as little material as possible? But that makes you want to shrink the face, the surface area, but then you also want to grow the surface area so it's easier to breathe. So there's these things that are trying to make it smaller and larger, and you can rebreathe your old air. I actually reached out to Solidworks for support on this, and you guys helped us out with software. You helped us out with actually doing computational fluid dynamic analysis to help us design the thing. So there was a much deeper problem. And then also just the sourcing of all of the different materials, the manufacturing methods. It's all super hard, actually. I mean, we know engineering's hard, but like just balancing all these things while at a pandemic, while everyone's working remotely with a team of people who've never met each other before, it's really an astounding experience.
Absolutely. I had the opportunity. I was kind of poking around on a couple websites, your LinkedIn page, things like that. I actually saw that computation. I saw the fluid dynamics study that you were actually talking about how exhaling and inhaling kind of creates this area of CO2 within inside of the mask, and that's really important to make a mask usable for somebody to breathe easily. So, yep. Really exciting stuff. So, you said you just released this back in December. If people want to learn more about the OSR, where can they go? Where can they go learn more information? Can they buy them? Where's the best place for people to find more information?
Great. Probably the best place to go is openstandardindustries.com. That's where you can we have more information about the mask. We're adding more information about the history of it a bit. And it's also for sale now. Now, it's not a certified device yet. We actually are in the process of building up an ISO quality system so that we can actually apply for certification. But right now it's just a face mask and not a certified device, but you can go online and actually get them now. And we've shipped about 500 of them since December.
Well, that's exciting. I'm sure people are going to want to learn more about this. So if you're tuning in now and you want to visit Matt's going to be presenting next Thursday during the Power of Community segment during the virtual 3D Experience World event between 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Matt, I was really happy to have you here today, and I can't wait to see you next week.
Thank you. My pleasure. It's great to see you again, Jeremy.
Like Matt took the opportunity to kind of take this pandemic and change the direction of his business. We had a contest that we introduced last year, so it had an opportunity for new changes to be brought on board. And I'd like to bring Michael Steves on to talk about the Model Mania 3D Experience Challenge and how that's evolving this year. Michael, welcome to SolidWorks Live.
Hi, Jeremy. Thanks for having me.
So, Michael, we talked with Mark Schneider a little while ago. A lot of folks are familiar with Model Mania and kind of the traditional desktop modeling challenge. Last year, we had a brand new challenge brought to 3D Experience World. Can you give the folks viewing who maybe didn't get a chance to attend what that challenge involved?
Yeah, last year at Nashville was so much fun. And what even made it more fun for me was introducing the 3D Experience Challenge to Model Mania. So it was actually, if you had a chance to attend, it was a great experience to just walk up to a computer, sit down, spend as little or as much time as you want to show off your design skills. And you were using the new 3D Creator and 3D Sculptor roles, so the design apps on the 3D Experience platform. And we, last year we worked with one of our great customers, Biodapt, so that people could walk up, they could design their own component for the VF2 foot, and then from there they could make that prosthetic foot their own, design the cover, design the sole of the foot. And when they were ready, when they felt like they had something they had to show off, they would take a snapshot of that model right from the web apps. There's a publish to the 3D Swim communities on the platform. to show off their design. And that's where the 3D Experience World community, anybody who's everybody, go onto this platform and like the images that they thought, were deserved to win. And that's how we picked out the winners. So the winners with the most likes won, and we, similar to Model Mania Solidworks Challenge, we separated customers. We're going up against customers, and resellers and partners were going up each other as well. So it's a good way to, especially with the wide range of experience on these web apps, it was a really cool way to show off some creativity and really put the power of the community to work, to collaborate and drive some feedback to, as Jason mentioned earlier, improvements to the software. Because now in 2021, it's going to be even better.
So Michael, you said a lot of things there about using web apps for the design, posting things socially, engaging with the community. These actually all sound like things that were like custom made for an environment like we're dealing with right now in both this pandemic and a virtual event. How is the Model Mania 3D Experience Challenge changing this year?
Well, so, thinking about how we set up and executed the 3D Experience Challenge last year, I think it's actually going to be easier this year for 2021 because I don't have any computers to touch. And I don't have any software to install. I didn't have any software to install, last year. But this year, what we're doing is for people who participate, they will have free access to the 3D Creator and 3D Sculptor roles. And there's no software to install because the only setup that I had to do was set up a dashboard, and it's going to be inviting people to the platform, giving them those licenses, and they'll have access to that same dashboard that has all the instructions necessary to go through the steps. And one thing that's really cool about these apps is that there's built-in help. Of course, there's a wealth of information online. If you've never touched any of these tools before, you can learn, a lot about XDesign and Xshape apps to create and, flex your design skills.
Well, that's cool. Michael, last year you mentioned you guys had anybody who participated kind of put their own custom take on the BioDAP leg. What are we going to be looking at this year in terms of like designing? Because this contest is a little bit different. It's not necessarily just a time contest. They get to be very creative. So what can the people participating in expect to be working on?
Well, Jason Pohl, earlier in your interview, alluded to this. We're redesigning SolidWorks Chopper. We're making a 3D Experience Chopper, and that's what we're doing with Model Mania 3D Experience Challenge 2021. So one of the files that we have readily available for you when you get onto the dashboard is the frame and motor. From there, it's up to you. What do you want to design? Do you want to design the wheels? Do you want to design the oil tank, the fuel tank, handlebar, headlamp? It's up to you. When you're ready, you're going to share it now as a 3D model to the 3D Experience World 3D Swim community. So, not only since it's 3D, people will be able to view it right from their web browser, rotate around, see all the things that you did in the design, and yeah, really to show off your creativity and what you can do with the XDesign and Xshape apps.
So when they post these onto the 3D Experience platform, how is this going to be judged, Michael? Because this seems fairly subjective at this point.
Yeah, so what you want to do to make sure that you're kind of following all the rules here is you only get one submission to make. You need to share it as that 3D model directly from the XDesign or Xshape app. You can kind of give it whatever name that'll maybe attract some interest there. In my example there, I just called it Michael's Chopper. But you also need to make sure you have Model Mania in the description. And what we're going to do is we're going to collect those. They're being posted as ideas, which is a unique feature to the 3D Swim communities because that helps us kind of filter and sort and collect all of these ideas into one location in that community. Because there's a lot of conversation and a lot of posts and activity going on in that 3D Swim community. This is an easy way to just filter down to all the Model Mania 3D Experience challenges right inside that community. So if you want to, let's take a look. I mean, we can take a look at how someone would access this community. And this is open to anybody. Just go to solidworks.com/3DXworld. This takes you to the 3D Experience platform. So you can log in with your 3D Experience ID or SolidWorks ID. If you don't have one, you can create one right there. This takes you directly to the 3D Experience World community. If you click on that little light bulb there, it'll give you the ideas pipeline. From there, there's a section for the Model Mania 3D Experience Challenge, and nothing's in there yet because we're going to start collecting your posts starting on Monday, 8 a.m. Eastern. So that's where you'll be able to, one location to see all these posts. From there, you can click on them, view the models in 3D, and for the ones that you think that deserve it, give them a like. And if you're a participant, you can take, there's a link right inside the post that you make to share it. And you can share it out to your other social networks to solicit more likes. Because at this point it becomes similar to last year, the most likes wins. So it's really leveraging the power of the community and the power of your design skills to show off some really cool designs and go viral with your designs.
So say I want to participate in the Model Mania 3D Experience Challenge. How do I sign up for this?
So the first thing that you'll need to do is you'll make sure you're registered for 3D Experience World. When you go through that registration process, there's an option in your profile. From there, you go right to the community that we were just talking about. You can search for Model Mania. There's already been a number of questions that have been asked. But one thing that you do need to do is there is a survey that you need to complete. So there's some, recapping some instructions here about, making sure you're registered for 3D Experience World. With that same email you used for the registration, you're going to fill that out here in this survey. And this is how I know who you are, and I can give you those licenses for free to compete in the 3D Experience Challenge. So the short link for everybody to go right to this survey is solidworks.com/3DXchallenge21. If you go to that address, it'll take you right to that survey so you can fill in. Now, and the deadline to do so is tomorrow, and space is limited. So we already have a lot of people that have signed up to participate in this. So don't miss your chance. If you want to participate, and we have the same awards that we do for the SolidWorks Challenge. So first, second, third place prizes for customers and resellers to show off their design skills and win some fabulous prizes.
Well, that's really cool, Michael. So one of the things that's really cool here that you mentioned, I really want to reiterate it here. Anybody can participate in the judging process by going to solidworks.com/3DXworld, right? They just have to be logged into the platform there, correct?
Correct. Yeah, that's how you access that 3D Experience World community. And one of the greatest, I'm thinking back to last year at Nashville on the special events on the set day 2 and the evening. I saw people out on the streets in Nashville pulling up their posts on their phone to send the link. They're texting it to their friends to help solicit more likes, improve their chances of winning.
So Michael, when can people tune in to see who the winners of this are? And I should have asked Mark Schneider the same thing.
Well, you'll be able to watch the winner's presentation. It's on Wednesday. It's day 3, which is Thursday this year. Thursday, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. This is the Model Mania winners presentation. So we're talking about the SolidWorks Challenge winners, the 3D Experience Challenge winners, as well as the newly introduced this year 3D Experience Student Challenge. So you'll be able to see who won, you'll see the solution videos, and you'll see the cool models and record times that people posted.
Well, that's great, Michael. I want to thank you for joining us here today to kind of talk about the Model Mania 3D Experience Challenge. But before I let you go, I've been nosing around a little bit. There's been this event at 3D Experience World and SolidWorks World before that was held on day 3 that people really waited for. It was a technology preview. Can you tell us a little bit about what that is and what that involved in the past?
I think you know a little bit about these technology previews. Yeah, this year it's a little bit different. We brought it back and we're bringing it back big. It's on each day, day 1, day 2, and day 3 of 3D Experience World. And we're calling it Don't Miss This Demo. And believe me, you do not want to miss this demo. So there's some times there for you. If you've registered for 3D Experience World, they've automatically been added to your agenda, except for day 1 on that Tuesday, February 9th. That is automatically following the plenary session in the morning. So that'll be your first chance to watch it. If for some reason you're not able to watch it live, you're pulled away into another task for work, whatever it may be, don't worry, you'll be able to go back and watch the recordings of Don't Miss This Demo. But believe me, you're going to want to be some of the first people that watch this session. And we have a lot of fun with this. I mean, this is a really great way to see what's coming, what's next, and showcase some of the power that you have access to now in the 3D Experience Works portfolio. And I mean, just teasing a little bit here of what you're going to see on day 3 is a sneak preview of some of the things that we're working on in SolidWorks 2022. So a little bit of a glimpse of the future. So I think, Jeremy, maybe we have a little bit of fun here. Can we take a preview of what has been done at previous years?
I think that's a good idea. We have 26,000 people registered for this event. So there's a lot of folks who might not know exactly what you're talking about when we say putting a little humor into showing some future technology. So let's take a look at some highlights from previous year's technology previews.
Wait a minute, what was that? You guys got a 2-button mouse back here, too.
This is the biggest design bust we've had in years.
Doug, what the heck is this?
Marty, I'm glad you could make it. This is a time machine I created. Works. Time to test out the functionality.
You create a time machine from a Prius?
We know how expensive a DeLorean is to rent.
The Solid Grill 3000. Order now, lose weight, make tasty treats, and get your design work done on time.
No! What's happened? It's ruined! Hours of work destroyed. Cadman. Ribbon.
Holy verification and rebuild, Cadman. And it's here where we hope to discover designers in our midst. In the cubicle forest, a constant battle for survival rages on. The cheese we hope to capture on film can be very elusive, as there are many that prey upon them. But all the signs indicate that we are getting very close. Come with me.
Q Backup tells me your elevator can get us to the 6th floor.
Not only the 6th floor, any floor in between. Haven't you heard of the Millennium Elevator?
No, should I have?
It's only the fastest elevator in the whole building. How about run Bernard Charles in this baby? Done the Kessel run in less than 12 parsecs.
Isn't a parsec a unit of length? Look, we just need to get to the 6th floor. No questions asked.
Finalists are... It's Lord Percy and William Roberts!
But that's not all, Mark. Watch me assemble this complete master assembly as graphics only. It contains 115 components, but the performance is superb.
Wait, so you're adding mates between graphics-only components?
Alexa, get me some strawberries and champagne. Now, let me show you
Right
this.
here, Mark.
Oh.
I assume by champagne you meant your usual.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Who is this?
That's Alexa, my life coach.
That's not how Alexa works.
There's a reason why we've been voted as your #1 source of SolidWorks news for 27.235 years. Get all this and more right here on the SolidWorks News Network.
A lot of memories, Jeremy.
I can't help but giggle at a few of those, Michael.
Yeah, it's so fun to watch. I mean, we've put a lot of work into the technology preview this year. I hope people are really going to enjoy it.
So not only is this a really fun thing for us to create, it's a really cool way for us to share with the viewers a lot of the new functionality, along with some of the comical, really bad, and I'll use air quotes, acting. We show the software throughout this entire process, and attendees will have an opportunity to see really cool technology, from this year it's really cool. It's going to be from across the entire 3D Experience portfolio, and then an exclusive look at SolidWorks Desktop on day 3, right, Michael?
That's right. So you'll be able to see some of the 3D Experience SolidWorks offers in there of, SolidWorks connected to the cloud. You'll be able to see, a closer look at some of the design and manufacturing roles in the 3D Experience Works portfolio. Maybe a sneak peek of some of the other bonus apps are in there. And of course, of SolidWorks 2022, and just to show you some of the things that we're working on in the next release.
Well, cool. Michael, thanks so much for joining us here today. And don't miss this demo. Again, that's going to be Tuesday, February 9th at 11:15 a.m. Eastern Time, Wednesday, February 10th at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Time, and Thursday, February 11th at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. So we've looked at a lot of really cool ways we've transitioned from a virtual or from an in-person event to a virtual event. I had an opportunity to speak with somebody whose last name you may be familiar with, Brent Bushnell. He's the founder of 2-Bit Circus, which is this really cool digital amusement park experience. And they had some challenges this year because an in-person experience wasn't going to be possible. Let's take a look at how Brent Bushnell handled some of these challenges and what he'll be discussing next week at 3D Experience World. Next, I'd like to welcome onto SolidWorks Live, Brent Bushnell, CEO and co-founder of 2-Bit Circus. Brent, welcome to our show.
Thanks so much for having me, Jeremy. Great to be here.
So, Brent, for our viewers at home who might not know what 2-Bit Circus is, can you give us a little bit of insight as to what your organization's all about?
Yeah, 2-Bit Circus, a big band of maker nerds. We've been building interactive entertainment for over a decade, and in 2018 opened our own permanent facility, which is a 50,000 square foot entertainment complex in the middle of downtown Los Angeles. We call it a micro amusement park. It's got a whole high-tech carnival midway, a virtual reality arena, a robot bartender, full restaurant and bar. It's a ton of fun with, hours and hours of entertainment.
This sounds like the kind of place I want to go and I want to visit. But like a lot of things this past year, I have to imagine that all changed. How did you and 2-Bit Circus kind of handle this pandemic being such an interactive experience?
Yeah, we actually closed it down a couple days before we were mandated by California to shutter. And we made all the changes to hibernate it and then started shifting our approach online. And so one of the big attractions of the park is this 100-seat interactive game show theater. And so what we did is we said, hey, how do we make this an interactive game show from home? Which was frankly something we always wanted even before the pandemic. And so what it is you've got a live host and then everybody's able to interact, in real time with the game show. We can, pull you up, Jeremy, as a contestant on the stream. And, it's been a ton of fun. We've done literally hundreds of shows now.
Wow. I mean, it sounds like you've really kind of pivoted, and I hate to sound cliche here. You made lemonade out of lemons with this. And that's what you're going to be talking about next week at 3D Experience World. Can you give our audience a little bit of insight as to what your segment's going to be about and who else is going to be on this segment with you? Because there might be some names our audience actually knows.
Yeah, I'm so excited about our session. We've got a multi-generational approach. My dad, who founded Atari and Chuck E. Cheese, an incredible creative, Grant Delgatti, who was the creative director at Vans and now is a professor at USC. And so we're going to have a conversation all about innovation and entrepreneurship and, how to turn ideas into businesses.
This sounds really fun. I mean, so you talk about entrepreneurship. Obviously, your family kind of has this in its DNA. We, again, I'll reiterate, you mentioned your father, Nolan Bushnell, the founder of Atari, and then you with 2-Bit Circus. But my understanding is your entrepreneurship didn't start with 2-Bit Circus. I've kind of had a sneak peek at the interview you guys did. You started at an early age. I heard something about a lemonade stand that kind of got out of control. Can you give us a little bit of insight into that?
Yeah. Well, so, I've got 7 siblings, if you can believe it. And, growing up, we were always trying to figure out cool things that we could do. Dad is a big nerd also, so we always were around a lot of tools. We made mistletoe that we packaged up with ribbon, and at Christmas. We made our own jewelry, my brother and I, with special beads, and even our lemonade stand was not just lemonade; it was a full-blown 7-Eleven. I mean, this was the early days of pre-Costco Price Club, so we could have all sorts of different things to offer, and it was really. I was terrible at sports, but loved selling candy bars for my baseball team.
Well, Brent, everybody at SolidWorks loves a good entrepreneurship story. When can our viewers tune in to see you, your father, and Grant talk about this next week?
We're part of the Connections to Relationships session that is February 11th from 10 to 11 Eastern.
Well, that's great. I can't wait to tune into that. But if people want to learn more about 2-Bit Circus, where can they go find more information about that?
We're at 2bitcircus.com, all spelled out, TWOBITCIRCUS, all the major social media. And we run our game show every Thursday at 7 o'clock Pacific. And in fact, in the next couple of weeks, we've got a brand new 3D printed puppet that is a new character in the show. So I'm super excited about that.
Well, great. Thanks, Brent, so much for joining us here today on SolidWorks Live. I can't wait to see you next week.
Ditto.
Brett mentioned Thursday night. That's today. So maybe I'll have to tune in at 7 p.m. Eastern at 2-Bit Circus tonight and see what this is all about. I want to take some time, though, to thank all my guests for joining me live today, the folks that I had the opportunity to meet with over the course of the last week. I'm really excited for 3D Experience World this year. Even as a virtual event, I think it opens up the possibilities to attending way more than was ever possible in the past. And I encourage you to do so as well. You can still register by going to 3dexperienceworld.com today. And again, if you register before tomorrow night, you'll automatically be upgraded to a VIP pass. So don't forget that. And if you can't attend the entire event next week, we are going to have another SolidWorks Live event the week right after 3D Experience World. We're going to be covering some of the highlights from 3D Experience World. This is going to include things such as the winners for the Model Mania we talked about today, some of the other special guests that are going to be speaking during the general session, plenary sessions, and we'll be taking a look at some of the deep dives in some of these industry domain sessions that have been going up that will be taking place over the course of the week next week. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in today, but I really want to encourage you to really tune in next week and join the over 26,000 registered users that are already planning on attending. So see you next week at 3D Experience World.